Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T UVerse TV. Well, welcome into a mostly cloudy Kauffman Stadium here in Kansas City. The City of Fountains, the host of tonight's matchup between the Texas Rangers and the Kansas City Royals. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this evening of Ranger baseball. And it should be a dandy tonight. Rangers going up against the leader in the American League Central, and certainly one of the top teams in the American League as far as playoffs are concerned. And they will send their veteran Colby Lewis to the hill tonight, Tom.
Yeah, they will, Buzz. And, Colby said the other day that he's actually a little bit surprised himself at this stage of the season to have this many starts, this many innings. It's been a remarkable comeback from his hip surgery, but you could make a pretty good case right now that Colby's stuff, maybe not his command, but his stuff is better now than it was before the surgery. And in games like this, you can see the command and you can see the results. His last 2 road starts have been complete games. He won the game in Seattle. He pitched 9 innings, gave up 4 runs in that game, but he commanded his fastball. He tries to throw it down and away. His slider was better. And then when he comes up with his fastball at 90 miles an hour, it's been a very effective pitch for him. So things are really on track for Colby right now.
Yeah, and Colby's still trying to figure out exactly what to do with the newfound stuff, if you will, that he takes out there each time. So it's kind of an era of discovery for Colby Lewis, and so far the returns have been very good. Well, Colby on the hill tonight, the Rangers and the Royals will hook it up in the first game of 3 coming to you from Kansas City. We'll be back with more from Kauffman Stadium right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event, now playing at a Ford dealer near you. By AT&T UVerse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK-ATT, mobilizing your world. And by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. A cloudy, very mild evening here in Kansas City. Rangers and Royals getting set to match up in the first of 3 games, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night. We'll be back with the starting lineups and the first pitch right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Mountains, Kansas City, Missouri. Rangers and the Royals getting set to play game 1 of this series. And here is the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers starting lineup for you tonight. Leonis Martin leads off. He's in center field. Elvis Andrus follows. Then it's Alex Rios. Adrian Beltre bats cleanup. Highest average of .408. Highest in the major leagues against Kansas City. Ryan Rua is the DH tonight. Adam Rosales plays first. Tomas Taylor is catching. Rougned Odor at second. Michael Choice bats ninth and plays left field.
And we'll look at the Sonic scouting report for young starting pitcher Yordano Ventura. Having an excellent season, rookie season. He's 10-9 with a .340 ERA. He's had 24 starts. A lot of innings, third most among Major League rookie pitchers. August 22nd, which was his last start in Texas. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. He missed a start in between that start and this one with a stiff back. So he's had some time off between that start and the one today. He's got a great fastball, mid-90s to upper 90s. Occasionally might even touch 100. Hard curveball, sharp curveball, and a pretty good changeup. If he stays healthy, Buzz, the sky's the limit for him down the road.
You are right about that. Boy, the stuff is certainly there. And it looks like he, even at the young age of 23, has learned how to use that stuff pretty effectively, too.
Definitely.
Knows how to pitch a little bit. We're having a little bit of a delay, something going on out in center field, and they're waiting for the clock, as I understand, waiting for 7:10 to start this. Clock right now at 7:09. So apparently that's the magic hour here in Kansas City, or magic minute. Has to be 7:10 or it doesn't count.
Sure feels like a long minute when you're waiting to start a ball game.
Well,
you get stuck.
The clock might have gotten a little water in it from last night. There it is. And the crowd,
cheering the clock.
Yeah, that's Kansas City's version of a Bronx cheer. So now we are set to go. Leonis Martin leading things off in the first pitch of the evening is a little bit low for ball 1.
That's pretty good. He popped the first pitch of the game at 99 miles an hour. I guess he's loose.
And a chopper on 2 hops out to the second baseman, Infante. Leonis Martin retired, 1 away. Elvis Andrus now will come up. Take a look at the Royals defense, brought to you by Progressive tonight. Outfield this evening, Alex Gordon in left, Gerard Dyson in center, Carlos Peguero, just up from AAA, is in right field. Eric Hosmer back in the lineup after a month and a half absence. Infante and Escobar up the middle, Mike Moustakas at third, and Salvador Perez is catching. 75-degree evening and very little breeze here in Kansas City. Elvis takes that first pitch, knee-high, strike one.
And that one was 100 miles an hour.
With a little movement on it, too. That's ridiculous.
How do you make it look that easy? I would have thought that was about 91 just watching him throw it.
Check swing. That is a strike also at 100.
I like the way after he lets go of the ball, he kicks his right leg up in the air a little bit. He's putting everything he's got into it, but it looks nice and smooth.
Otherwise, you wouldn't know he's working, I guess. 0-2 pitch. And that breaking ball a little bit short. Elvis at 266, a couple of home runs, 34 driven in. Elvis appears to have had his batting average stabilize a bit around that 270 mark. He had a long climb to get back up to that level, and he has gone on strikes here. There's that big hook from Yordano Ventura. First strikeout, 2 gone here in the first.
That's a fairly tough combination. 100-mile-an-hour sinking fastball and about an 85-mile-an-hour sharp-breaking overhand curveball. That's going to get a lot of hitters out.
Yeah, I would think so. In this league and the next one up, too.
Yeah, whatever the next league is, he's ready for it with that stuff.
No, 2 gone. Alex Rios, a 280 hitter, steps in. 101 right down the middle.
I think taking his last start off and having 10 days between starts has definitely appealed to him. Going for 102.
That pitch is high.
That one he really tried to throw 100.
Yeah, he did. He did. Probably turned around and looked at the radar gun and said, oh, okay, well, I guess I can bump that up a little bit. Breaking balls in the dirt, 2 balls and a strike.
One thing he did on that pitch, he slowed his delivery down a little bit. You could, as a hitter, I think you could pick that last pitch up a little bit.
I guess the question would be, even if you pick it up, what do you do with it?
What good's it going to do you?
Rios, a shot down the right field line, but it slices and misses the line by 4 or 5 feet. Well, Alex coming back with a 2-2 count. Well, the Royals, kind of an unusual situation last night. Rangers got into the hotel about 9 o'clock last night, and the Royals game had started at 7:10, and about an hour later, they were in extra innings. Just started extra innings, and the rains came, and it suspended the ball game with the Royals and the Cleveland Indians. And that ball game now, the Indians had taken a 2-run lead in the top of the 10th inning. Royals were coming to bat in the bottom of the 10th because they didn't have a chance to bat. The game was suspended. It wasn't completed, so they'll have to play that, the remainder of that game, when the Royals go to Cleveland at the end of the month. On to first, and that will do it. So Ventura gets a strikeout, a couple of ground balls. Rangers gone in order. We played a half inning here in Kansas City. Rangers nothing. The Royals coming up on Fox Sports Southwest. Orioles come to bat against Colby Lewis, and here's the lineup that Colby will face here this evening. Gerard Dyson, the center fielder, will lead things off. He's followed by the second baseman, Omar Infante, and then the left fielder, Alex Gordon. Salvador Perez bats cleanup. Eric Hosmer back in the lineup, playing at first base, batting fifth. Raul Ibanez is the DH. Carlos Peguero bats seventh and plays right field. Mike Moustakas at third, and batting ninth, the shortstop, Alcides Escobar.
Sonic scouting report for Colby Lewis. 9-11, a 5.44 ERA in 24 starts. Last 5 road starts, terrific. 3-2 with a 2.80 ERA. His last 2 road starts have been complete games. 19 strikeouts and only 1 walk in his last 3 starts, covering 21 innings. And by the looks of Yordano Ventura, Colby's going to have to be at his best to keep the Rangers in this game. We'll see what happens. It's only the first inning. But Colby has been throwing the ball well and needs to keep doing it tonight.
Yeah, he will deal to the speedy Gerard Dyson, who takes low for ball 1. Dyson at 291. A home run, 23 RBI. Getting the start tonight in center field. Royals have really had a problem scoring runs of late. Ned Yost making a few adjustments. Dyson at the top of the order, and moving Eric Hosmer back into the lineup tonight after spending 6 weeks on the disabled list with a broken right hand. And he also is starting Carlos Peguero, just called up from AAA today. Dyson pops one up down the left field line. Choice and Andrews. Michael Choice just in fair ground, able to make up the ground and make the catch for out number 1.
Yeah, I think the feeling with Gerard Dyson is, in his limited time playing in August, he had a 40% on base percentage, and for a team that's having trouble scoring runs, if he can get on base a couple of times tonight and steal a couple of bases, they might be able to sneak a couple of runs in and score runs in a different way. I think that's what Ned Yost is thinking anyway.
The Royals still leading the American League in stolen bases as a team by quite a bit, by almost 30. Omar Infante takes strike 1 from Colby Lewis. Infante at 256. You remember when the Royals were down at Globe Life Park in Arlington that Infante was the team leader with 59 RBI, and he still has 59 RBI, but he has been passed up by Alex Gordon, who has 63. Fouled out a play to the right, and that moves the count to 0-2. The Royals, believe it or not, are in first place by half a game over Detroit on September the 1st for the first time since 1982. Back and even in their World Series championship year of 1985, they weren't in first place on the 1st of September. So it is unusual times, to say the least, here in Kansas City. Not sure the fans know how to act. They're worried about how the team is going to fare with the pressure of winning. The fans are going crazy themselves. To right field, Alex Rios drifting over to his left, makes the catch. That is out number 2. Now let's take a look at the rest of the Rangers defense. It's delivered to you by Fred Loya Insurance. Saw Michael Choice in left field and Alex Rios in right. They are flanking Leonis Martin in center. Adam Rosales has started first. Rougned Odor and Elvis Andrus up the middle of the diamond. Adrian Beltre at third. And Tomas Davies is catching tonight. Oh, a pair of fly balls for Colby Lewis and a pair of outs. Now Alex Gordon, a 280 hitter. 1 ball, no strikes. Gordon, a team best 18 home runs and 63 driven in. A little bit low, 2-0. Gordon, as Tom told you in our pregame remarks, 12 of his 18 home runs have either tied the game or given the Royals the lead. And that is coming through when they need it. And this ballpark, not the easiest place to hit home runs. No. When you're able to drive the ball out of this ballpark, it's something. 330 down each line and goes out very quickly. 387 in the alleys and 410 to center. And there's a base hit to center for Gordon. Well, Alex Gordon becomes the first base runner of the night for either team. A 2-out single here in the first. And that'll bring up Salvador Perez. There's the list of the teams that were in first place entering September. He goes back to '76, the first year that the Royals won the division. 2.5 games in front in 77, 2 games in front in 78, and all 3 of those years losing to the Yankees in the American League Championship Series. 20 games up in their first World Series year in 1980. And they lost the World Series to the Phillies. And in 1982, a game and a half up, they ended up second place in the Western Division. There goes Gordon. The pitch is high, or low, I should say, and the throw is high. And in with a stolen base is Alex Gordon. So the Royals coming out and making a concerted effort to use speed here in the early going.
Well, Taylor's had a shot at him, but he bobbled the ball and still made it a close play. He has a quick release and a strong arm, but he bobbles the ball for just a second, and that allows Gordon to get in. I think if he's able to get a handle on it and throw right off the bat, that he has a pretty good shot at getting Gordon.
I'm amazed that he could find a handle on it if you're popping it up in the air.
I know, and make it that good a throw.
1 ball, no strikes. And to right center field, that is trouble. It is up the alley, going to the wall. Gordon around third will score. At second and stopping there with the RBI double is Salvador Perez. And the Royals jump out to a 1-0 lead. And as it turned out, that stolen base really didn't come into play. That's going to score Gordon from first.
Kobe's trying to throw that slider down and away. It ends up and away. And it's kind of right high enough to where Perez can go out and drive that ball into right center field. If Kobe throws that one where he normally does, down and away, maybe a little bit out of the strike zone, different kind of swing.
Yep. Well, the Royals doing something tonight that they were not able to do yesterday at all. That's get a hit with runners in scoring position. Colby over there gets the underhand feed from Adam Rosales, and Hosmer is out on 1 pitch. That'll do it, but the Royals taking the early lead. A run on 2 hits. They lead 1 after 1. 1-0 Kansas City. Just Keep Living Foundation. That partnership brings fitness, nutrition, and wellness after-school programs to 3 high schools in North Texas. For more information on this program, visit TexasRangers.com/foundation. The Rangers now playing from behind 1-0, and Adrian Beltre will start things off against Giordano Ventura, the Beltre, Rua, and Adam Rosales. Adrian steps in hitting at .324 for the year. 17 home runs, 68 RBI. That first fastball at an even 100 miles an hour right down the middle. Apparently he didn't lose anything sitting down after the first inning. Huh?
No, I think he probably picked something up with his missing a start.
Beltre drives one to right field, That sends Peguero back to the track. And he reaches up to make the catch. 4 out, number 1. Adrian gave it a pretty good ride going the other way, but again, this is a very spacious ballpark, very pitcher-friendly ballpark. And a long out. Now it'll be Ryan Rua. And a night like tonight, too, where the air is not real warm, mid-70s and lower, and the humidity's up. The ball will not carry nearly as well as it does on a very warm, humid night. Rua takes the first pitch up and in for ball 1. Ryan has hit safely in each of his first 3 major league games, all 3 down in Houston against the Astros. He is now 3 for 12 in his first foray at the major league level. Been impressive. Every ball that he has hit the last couple of days has been right on the nose. And Ventura missing outside. It's 3 balls, no strikes. Rua trying to get aboard with 1 out. Rangers looking for their first base runner. Adam Rosales will follow. 3-0 pitch. Ball 4. Rua takes the 1-out walk. He becomes the first Ranger to reach base.
I think the only time Ryan has swung at a pitch that might have been slightly out of the strike zone was when he had 2 strikes, and it might have been Feldman threw him a good sinker that might have been a little bit low. And on one, he got a base hit up the middle. The other one, he hit a ball to second base, turned into a double play. But other than that, he looks very comfortable commanding the strike zone. In other words, swinging at strikes and taking the balls. He's not checking his swing. If it's a ball, he's just kind of comfortably taking it like he knows it's a ball all the way.
Adam Rosales looks at a fastball just off the outer edge for ball 1. Rosales getting a start at first base tonight, a .321 average. He has been extremely consistent for the Rangers the entire month of August, to be quite honest. He has really been a force offensively for the Rangers. There's a strike. 1-1. And it all started early in the month of August. He had that game on the 5th in Chicago, the 2-home-run game against Chris Sale. And that really propelled him to a solid month of August that saw him hit over .350. Up there now with Rua at first base. 1 out, the 1-1 pitch. 1-2. "20 games in August. Adam Rosales hit .352, and you see that .340 average in his last 18 road games. Ventura sets a check of first. And down to first, under the glove of Hosmer, out into shallow right field. Around second, heading for third is Rua. And the Rangers will have runners at the corners and 1 out for Tomas Teles.
Well, the Royals have been playing Billy Butler at first base, who's been doing the best job that he can. He's had a couple of instances where he's not made a play that you might have expected him to make. Once late in the game last night. In fact, in the 10th inning, he had a ground ball that he didn't make the play on, kind of like that. But with Hosmer, who's a very good defensive player, you don't expect him to have a problem on that kind of a ball.
And that is going to go down as an error on Eric Hosmer. He might have been as surprised as anybody that he didn't have that ball in his glove when he looked up.
He might have looked up and tried to make the throw maybe before he caught the ball.
Could have. So first and third, the runners. Here's Tomas Teles. Chopper it out to second. Could be 2. Infante, a jump throw. They got it. Tomas Teles trying to leg out the back end of that double play and missed by half a step. Well, the Ranger threat is gone in the second. No runs, no hits, an error, and 1 man left. And Ron Washington is coming out of the Ranger dugout. Slow walk out to first. He's going to talk with Rob Drake down there, the first base umpire.
I thought he had a shot from up here. What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was very close.
I thought that it might be something that they discuss.
Well, the challenge has been issued, and Rob Drake and the crew chief, Fielding Colbreth. Judging from that,
he's not going to get it, is he?
I don't think so.
It's very close.
But that is a bang-bang play.
Yeah.
That's worth the challenge, I think.
I think once once it was called that way, it's going to be very tough to overturn it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now the two umpires on the headsets to the replay command center in New York, and the umpiring crew that is assigned this particular game will take a look at all the angles and make their determination. Again, the call on the field is out at first base, and it's going to take clear and convincing evidence to overturn that call. And I guess our question would be, is there clear and convincing evidence that the call was wrong? Well, we will wait for the determination from New York. And as soon as Field and Colbreth gets it, the crew chief will let us know what they have said. Ron Washington issuing that challenge. Taking some time, so this obviously is the kind of call that isn't just a snap decision, easy decision to make. Here's one of the angles they're going to look at.
It's close, boy.
Yeah. And the out sign is given by Field and Colbreth, and the call is out at first base. So the double play, and the Rangers are gone. We have played an inning and a half in Kansas City. It's the Royals 1 and the Rangers nothing. Our upcoming broadcast, and that's all thanks to the good folks at AT&T. Simply use hashtag Southwest Fan Photo, and your photo might be selected to be aired during one of our upcoming broadcasts on Fox Sports Southwest. And we appreciate the folks at AT&T making that possible. Raul Ibanez leading off for the Royals here in the bottom of the second inning. Kansas City on top 1-0. Ibanez handling the DH chores, hitting .205 for the Royals since joining them. A couple of home runs. Grounds one slowly into the shift with Odor in shallow right field. Ibanez is gone, one away for Carlos Peguero. Going back to the challenge that Ron Washington issued at the end of the top of the second inning. The time of the challenge was 1 minute and 21 seconds. So Wash losing that challenge as the call stood. It was not confirmed, but it stood because of the lack of evidence to the contrary. Here's Peguero, big left-handed hitting outfielder. He had 30 home runs this year at AAA.
Yeah, they're trying to kind of catch lightning in a bottle. He had 15 of them in August. Drove in 30 runs in the month of August. So they're giving him a shot to go out there as soon as he gets here to see if he can stay hot for as long as he can. Try to provide a little bit of spark to their offense, which has been actually struggling.
Peguero was second in the Pacific Coast League with those 30 home runs. Check swing on the off-speed pitch, and it's a strike, 1-2. Figueroa, you may remember from his days with Seattle, was up and down with the Mariners for a couple of years. Royals got him this past offseason. Hard hit, nice play by Adam Rosales. He picked him clean.
He did, boy. That even got the fans oohing and eyeing the way he picked that ball. Figueroa hit it pretty hard. Headed for the right field corner and at least the double. Sometimes you get a triple depending on how it caroms out there. That ball goes right in the web. Adam had a look to make sure it was still in there.
Yep.
Nice play.
That's when that big first baseman mitt really comes in play.
Yeah. There's a lot of first basemen that might not get leather on that one.
You're right. No, 2 gone after that dandy defensive play. Here's Mike Moustakas. He takes outside for ball 1. Moustakas in a pretty good downturn, 0 for his last 9. You see, though, against Colby Lewis, he has had some success, 2 for 4. He takes a knee-high strike to even the count. Moustakas part of the relatively young core for Kansas City, and maybe not 20, 21-year-olds, but guys that don't have a whole lot of major league experience that they're really counting on maturing this year and getting together as a unit to form a winning ball club. That's something they haven't been able to do. They've put up good individual numbers at times, trying to get these young guys to get together and provide a winner. And Moustakas hits a bullet to right for a 2-out single.
Yeah, Moustakas to a certain degree is a little bit like Dustin Ackley, Justin Smoke, a couple of the young players in Seattle who were very high draft choices. Moustakas was a very high draft choice. Gets to the big leagues pretty quick and struggles the first couple of years. In fact, Alex Gordon was like that when he first got to the big leagues. He actually got sent to the minor leagues, and he came back as an all-star. And sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it doesn't happen right off the bat. And if you love the talent and you believe in the player, you stick with him and show patience. We talked about that with Houston and Chris Carter. Patience they've shown with him, and now he's one of the best home run hitters in the league. So I'm sure the Royals still believe in Moustakas.
Yeah.
Just taking a while for it to happen.
Interesting you bring up Alex Gordon, too. Both of them were third base when they came up. They were both labeled the next George Brett.
That's pretty tough.
In Kansas City.
That's pretty tough.
And I think the folks in Kansas City are figuring out there is no next George Brett.
Just forget it.
Yeah.
That's not Paul happen. Shaw, maybe. But
maybe. That's possible. But, yeah, it took Alex Gordon switching positions for him to turn things around. Yeah. Escobar skies out to right, and that'll do it. Royals get a hit, but strand a runner. We have finished 2 at Kauffman Stadium. It's the Royals 1 and the Rangers nothing. with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. You get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and a whole lot more. Download the App Store, or you can visit TexasRangers.com today. A nice crowd on this Labor Day Monday night. Hope you folks have been having a fantastic holiday weekend, a long weekend, and hope you're enjoying yourself. Hoping everything is safe and happy with you all. And the Rangers trying to come back and win a ball game here tonight. Snap a mini 2-game losing streak. Rougned Odor leading things off. And Ventura throws one down at his shoe tops all the way to the backstop. Got a wry smile on Rougned's face. Hey, look, you're going to throw it 101. Let's not make it at my feet, huh? Salvador Perez out to mentor the young man a little bit. Rougned a .249 average. He has 7 home runs, 35 runs driven in. And that's very high. And the count goes to 3-0. The only walk that Ventura gave up was to Ryan Rua. It was a 4-pitch walk in the second inning. Now the 3-0 to Odor, and that is down the middle. Rougned on this trip, 6 for 26, but he's driven in 8 runs. Fouls that pitch off to the left. Driven in 8 runs in 7 games. So he has been on the verge of being prolific as far as producing runs. Modest 3-game hitting streak going for Odor. And he takes the pitch high, ball 4, and Odor is aboard with a leadoff walk.
You know, even though Ventura has been pitching pretty well, in fact, as far as giving up runs, doing a pretty good job. In his last 3 starts, 18 2/3, he's walked 13 batters. So his command, his control has not been great in his last 3 starts. He's obviously tough to hit, but he has been a little bit wild.
1 on, nobody out. Michael Choice, the number 9 hitter, steps to the plate. And he takes a knee-high strike. And, you know, Tom, you mentioned something back in the first inning about trying to throw it harder and noticing a difference in mechanically for Ventura. And I would bet dime to a dollar that that's exactly what's happened, is he changes mechanically to try and do something harder or something like that, and it gets him out of whack for a little while.
Could be.
Double play grounder out to Escobar. Infante back to first in time. 6-4-3 double play, the second turn by the Royals tonight. And before Leonis Martin comes up, let's take time for a Mazda game break with Dana Larson. All right, Dana, thank you. How about that? Combined no-hitters. Leonis trying to butt his way aboard and fouls it off. 0-1.
Who else threw it? Oakland threw a combined no-hitter a long time ago. Might have been one
back
more.
in the 70s.
Might have been another pitcher involved in that one.
He had 5, I think.
Yeah, I think it was too. Paul Lindblad might have been in that one.
Yeah. That was one of the last games of the season. I remember John Blue Moon Odom was in there for a couple of innings.
Was he?
Leonis takes low, and that's an even count now, and a ball and a strike. Martin, a ground ball to second, his first time up there. Rangers still looking for their first hit off of Giordano Ventura. That is out of play to the left. Infield hits. Look at the American League leaders, and 3 guys in this game tonight. Leonis Martin, Kane, and Alcides Escobar up there among the leaders. All 3 with blazing speed. 2-2 the count to Martin. Got him swinging. Well, that'll do it for the Rangers. The leadoff walk is erased by the double play. We'll go to the bottom of the third inning. It's the Royals 1 and the Rangers nothing. Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by the all-new Mazda 3 with seamless connectivity. Colby Lewis back to the mound, and the first pitch of the bottom of the third inning is popped up down the left field line. Michael Choice right at the wall, leaps up and has to reach back to haul it in. So Michael Choice getting to the wall and kind of got caught in between. Nice play, though.
Yeah, it's tricky playing the wall. You want to make sure you get far enough. He's not sure if he's going to have to jump. He's ready to jump. Fortunately, he didn't go airborne. Reach up and then not be able to come back and get it. But right as he's about to jump, he makes that little adjustment and makes the play. You're better off being near the wall and having to come back than not being far enough and then jumping right into the wall and not getting up in the air.
So Dyson twice is flied out to Michael Choice, once in fair ground, once in foul ground. Here's Omar Infante. Colby Lewis pumps in strike one. Infante a fly ball to right back in the first inning. Royals with 3 hits. They put 2 of them together with 2 outs in the first for their run. Off the end of the bat, Colby throwing that slider up there to Infante. 0-2.
Infante's picked it up a little bit in the last week, but overall, since the All-Star break, he's only a .218 hitter. So he was hot, but he has cooled down a little bit. Whoa, how about that?
Didn't want to take a hack like that at it, but
that
he
might
did.
be the highest pitch we've seen someone swing at this year.
Normally I'd say he went up the step ladder, but that's an extension ladder.
You could see Talise almost standing up behind the plate to give the target, and Colby throwing it actually a few inches higher than Tomas asked for it, and kind of an astounding swing by Infante.
Maybe Colby broke up that rise ball. Started at the letters and rows right up on out of the strike zone.
I really don't think anyone swung at a pitch higher than that this whole year.
I would be surprised if they had. Well, 2 outs for Colby. That's his first strikeout of the night. And for Omar Infante, his most embarrassing strikeout for a while. Alex Gordon singled and scored the run back in the first inning for Kansas City. Gordon a .281 average as Colby comes back to him. 2-1 now. Gordon had the single, a stolen base. He rode home on Salvador Perez long double. 2-2. We were talking about Alex Gordon, about the slow start he had to his career. And once he got sent to the minor leagues after his second year, he switched from third base to the outfield. And that seemed to relieve whatever pressure had built up, and it allowed him to really become a great player. And he has become a Gold Glove outfielder and a solid middle of the order hitter. They finally got him away from the leadoff spot in the Royals order. Finally had somebody to hit up there instead of him. And he has started to flourish in the middle of the Royals order.
Yeah, I don't remember what kind of a third baseman he was. I don't know if he was potentially that kind of a third baseman, but he took to the outfield pretty quick.
Yep. 2-2 the count. Colby to the wind, back to the plate. And the count goes full. So Gordon trying to get aboard once again with 2 outs in an inning. He'll be followed by Salvador Perez, the Royals catcher. Lewis to the wind, the payoff pitch. Low ball 4. The changeup couldn't entice Alex Gordon. And Gordon is aboard for the second time tonight.
That changeup would have enticed a number of hitters because it was pretty close to being a strike. But Gordon looked at it, failed to offer at it. Pretty good pitch. Not quite a strike, but right there.
Boy, it didn't even look like he had a thought to swing.
No, pretty good take.
Well, Gordon with the stolen base his first time. We'll see if Colby is able to check him. We remember that Colby, not the quickest Ranger pitcher to the plate. And he's going to go to work on Gordon now. The Colby, much to his credit, has really done a good job since coming back from the hip surgery of being quicker, of altering his delivery enough to allow him at least a reasonably quick delivery to the plate. Give his catcher a chance to throw somebody out. Gordon trying to get a jump and a couple of steps towards second, put the brakes on. The pitch inside for ball 1. Perez, the RBI double in the first inning, his 60th RBI of the year. Colby checks over his left shoulder and then tosses one to first. Colby reading the signs as Perez gets back in the batter's box. Right-hander sets at the belt. 2 balls, no strikes. You can see Colby that time trying to use a slide step toward the plate. He would probably be the first to tell you that takes away a little bit from his command, his ability to throw his good pitches where he needs to.
Even if he does the same thing he did last time when Gordon tried to steal, if Tomas gets rid of the ball, they'll probably be able to throw him out.
That ball is belted to left field. Back and gone. Perez got a 2-0 fastball right in the middle of the plate. And he hits his 16th home run of the year. The Royals lead it 3-0.
Drove in 20 runs in August. A pretty good start in September. Didn't quite get that ball where he wanted to. 2 times in a row that Perez just didn't make the pitch he wanted to make, and Perez took advantage of it.
385 feet after it left Salvador Perez bat. It touchdown in the Royals bullpen. Now Eric Hosmer takes strike 1. Hosmer grounded out in the first pitch he saw from Colby Lewis in his first at bat since coming back to the big leagues. Just activated today in the lineup, and both ball clubs adding folks with the expansion to 40 men on the roster now. The 1st of September, then go to the 40-man roster, and Royals making liberal use of it. Rangers will in the coming days add a significant number of people. And Michael Choice takes care of that fly ball. That'll do it for the Royals. But Salvador Perez and Alex Gordon again teaming up. They scored 2 on 1 hit after 3. 3-0 Kansas City. giveaways this Saturday, September the 6th. Royals celebrate Star Wars night. Rangers celebrate Star Wars night. The first 15,000 fans will get an R2-D2 beanie hat courtesy of Chicken Express. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. The Royals leading the Rangers 3-0 as Elvis Andrus leads things off while the Rangers here in the 4th inning. Yordano Ventura goes to work with strike one. Elvis down swinging his first time up there. Ventura has struck out a couple. He has walked two. Rangers still looking for their first hit tonight. As Ventura going through the batting order now for the second time. Elvis a .266 average. 2-1.
Saw a number of Ranger fans at the ballpark today. Shirley Coast and her husband Cal are here. Yep. Thanks to Shirley for the treats that she sent up. Some people might know Shirley better by her nickname, the Cookie Lady. But we appreciate that, Shirley. Thank you very much for bringing those with you for us to enjoy.
Well, she didn't make them in her hotel room?
I don't think so.
No, okay.
She makes them with that beautiful blender the Rangers gave her a number of years ago. Ranger Blue. Not many people have a blue blender with a Ranger logo on it.
The big blue blender.
Yeah. That's why the cookies are so good. Have Ranger flavor to them.
Ventura's 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. 98 down about knee high, and that is strikeout number 3 for Yordano Ventura.
Elvis saw the overhand curveball his first time. Well, a little movement on that fastball. That thing went from one side of the plate to the other with that kind of velocity. Good luck.
You know, it looks to me like he throws too hard for the ball to move like that, but it does.
Sure does.
Now here's Alex Rios, who tapped out to third. And first ball swinging. It's in the air to right center field. Dyson on and to his left. That is 2 away.
That ball moved like Kevin Brown's sinker, only about 5 miles an hour harder.
Yep. And that is a compliment, too, because that's the best sinker I've ever seen.
Yeah, that may be a slight exaggeration. He's got to pitch for a while before he actually can merit that kind of a comparison.
Well, I think,
one pitch did anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think stuff-wise, you're exactly right. And what you do with it, Kevin Brown certainly learned how to pitch with that.
Yeah. And Kevin really never had a great breaking ball or a great changeup. He pretty much overpowered people with a sinker.
Adrian Beltre takes a strike to even things up now. Beltre, a fly ball to deep right, his first time. He is the one Ranger that really has made solid contact against Ventura in the first 3 2/3 innings. 1-2 now on the chopper foul. Well, Ventura, as Tom told you, that time off, missing a spot through the rotation, and the Royals were extremely concerned about his innings this year and how he would handle it. And I think that Ned Yost and Dave Island, their pitching coach, have come up with a pretty good solution to give him that one time off and then adjust as necessary going down the stretch. Certainly what's best for this young man is what's best for the ball club in the long run. They want to make sure that he maintains his health as best they can possibly do. 1-2 to Beltre. Again down the right field line. That ball's hit well into the corner and way back and off the top of the wall. Beltre had to stop, and he's coming back to the bag, and he is safe at first. What a play out there by Carlos Peguero to play the carom, and he threw a bullet into Omar Infante at second, who almost got Beltre after a wide turn at first.
Boy, you come within a few feet of hitting a home run and barely end up getting back to first base safely. That ball just bounced right straight to Peguero. And Adrian has to put on the brakes and go back. He would have been out by 10 feet at second base.
There is, on top of the wall out there, there's a screen that's about 18 inches high in front of the seats. And it hit that screen right on top of the wall and came back in. That's why it bounced back so softly.
Yeah, if it hits a little bit below that, that ball might have caromed halfway out to right field.
Yeah, there's that screen.
I wondered why it came off so softly.
Yeah, not much to shoot for out there, but that's what Beltre hit. It's some 340 feet from home plate where that ball caromed off. Ryan Rua now after the foul ball, down in the count, 0-2. So the first hit of the night, and wouldn't you figure, Adrian Beltre extends his hitting streak against Kansas City to 18 consecutive games. He is now 41 for 100. I can figure that average out pretty well. It's 410, right?
Yep.
My higher math skills coming into play.
Pretty impressive.
0-2. So Beltre with the double at first, or I should say single at first base now. I was writing down double, and Adrian was thinking double, but Royals wouldn't let him do that. Rua waiting, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Got him swinging. 2 strikeouts in the inning for this evening for Ventura. Rangers gone, a hit and 1 left. After 3.5, 3-0 Kansas City. Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, right here on Fox Sports Southwest, where it's not about the score, it's about the experience. And a holiday crowd out here at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. They're seeing their hometown Royals lead 3-0 as they come to bat in the bottom of the 4th inning. Raul Ibanez to start things off against Colby Lewis. Ibanez, Peguero, and Moustakas. Ibanez 0 for 1 as he grounded out to second base his first time up. And takes a pitch low for ball 1. Ibanez, a 42-year-old. Boy, he has just been great since he turned 40, as a matter of fact. He has really done a great job swinging the bat. This may be his last hurrah, but the kind of shape he's in, hard to say for sure. 4 for his last 13. That's on the heels of an 0 for 11.
Yeah, not sure how his bat speed compares to a few years ago, but just looking at him, he still looks great. You're right, Buzz, for 42 years old. And you can't play at the level he's played at up until age 42 without being in great shape. Mm-hmm. He's gone out of his way the last 6 or 7 years to stay in great shape.
Skied to center field. Gliding over to his right, Leonis Martin has it. That is out number 1. Ibanez 0 for 2, and now Carlos Peguero will face Colby Lewis. Colby Lewis hadn't had a start in this ballpark since August of 2003. He only had 2 appearances here, and that was his only start. Worked a total of 2 1/3 innings. Gave up 7 runs in just an inning and a third. Peguero, who was picked clean down at first base by Adam Rosales his first time up, takes strike 1. Going the other way, that's slicing away from Michael Choice, and 1 hop off the wall. Peguero steaming into second with a 1-out double.
Peguero had a double down the right field line taken away from him the first time up by Adam Rosales, who picked him clean. That's probably what they're laughing about right there. But then he sliced one with authority past Michael Choice for a double to left. Pretty nice job of hitting right there. And we mentioned already how hot he was at AAA throughout the month of August. And so immediately when he arrived here, he's in the lineup, and after those 2 at-bats, he might just stay there for a while.
Well, that is the 5th base hit off of Colby Lewis tonight. 3 of them have been for extra bases. And the first breaking ball to Mike Moustakas bends in for strike 1. Moustakas a 2-out single in the second. That snapped that 0 for 9 streak that he had brought into the game. Lewis a check of second. And going the other way, that is into left field, a base hit. Peguero being waved home. There will be no throw. Peguero scores standing up. Moustakas with the cue shot base hit drives home the run. It is 4-0 Royals.
And Moustakas hit that ball right off the end of the bat. And unfortunately, instead of going to Elvis for a double play, spun right past him into left field for an RBI single. Elvis is playing him up the middle, and Moustakas hit it the other way.
Well, average with runners in scoring position this year, and Kansas City trailing the Detroit Tigers, but not by much. Just 4 percentage points. And they have been cold in that regard lately, but they're heating it back up here tonight. Now, Moustakas at first, still just 1 out here in the 4th inning. Alcides Escobar, the shortstop, is at the plate. Escobar a fly ball to right in the 2nd inning. Takes that breaking ball, and that's in a cutter, I guess it was. 0-1. Escobar brings in a 6-game hitting streak that's seen him go 9 for 26. Lewis sets a check of first. And pitch fouled away to the right. 0-2. Colby coming off that complete game in his last outing against Seattle. Saw him give up 7 hits and 4 runs in the 9 innings. Rangers, though, got him a dozen runs with which to work. Tonight, they're being shut out on just 1 hit through the first 4. 0-2 pitch. Rolled behind the bag at third, a fair ball. Beltre, long throw. And Escobar out. Down to second goes Moustakas. He is there with 2 outs for Gerard Dyson. Again, a nice play by Adrian Beltre.
I don't think Adrian has ever thrown better than he's throwing right now. He's making strong throws across the infield and very accurate.
Well, he's made, that's about 4 plays now on that depth behind the bag and going into foul territory on this road trip.
Yeah, he has.
No, 2 outs. And Dyson, who has twice flied out to left field. Ball 1. Dyson had a good month of August playing part-time, but he hit .354. He had a .407 on base percentage. It's one of the reasons why Ned Yost doesn't have any problem taking Nori Aoki out of that top spot if Dyson's available. Ned Yost complimenting Aoki with Dyson. Breaking ball hangs outside. It's 2-1. Colby about ready to throw his 57th pitch of the night. And he fires a strike at the knees. 2-2. Mike Moustakas, the runner at second. He is there, one out after he delivered an RBI base hit. Got him swinging. Good breaking ball. Colby Lewis gets his second strikeout. The Royals, though, get another run. They get a run on 2 hits and leave 1 after 4. It's the Royals 4, the Rangers nothing. Outing of the year 2014 will be opposed by Jeremy Guthrie, 7 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Southwest. Rangers finish up after Wednesday night, head back home to take on the Mariners for 4 over the weekend. Then the Angels and the Braves come in to complete that homestand before the Rangers head out for their last road trip of 2014. Adam Rosales leading off here in the top of the 5th inning. Rangers down 4-0 in Ventura's first pitch. He has swung through and missed. Rosales reached on an error by the first baseman Eric Hosmer back in the 2nd inning. .316 the average for Rosales this year. He takes inside. A ball and a strike. Checked his swing. He did not, according to Marty Foster, the home plate umpire who made the call. And somebody on the Ranger bench suggesting that Marty might want to check with first base before making that call. And Marty said, no, I'm not going to do it.
Pretty nice changeup at 90 miles an hour.
The chopper right back to Ventura. 1 gone. The folks, Whataburger and the Rangers are teaming up to strike out hunger. Bring 2 non-perishable food items to Globe Life Park on September the 5th and 6th, and receive a coupon good for a free Whataburger while supplies last. All donations will support the Tarrant Area Food Bank and North Texas Food Bank. One out here in the Ranger fifth inning. And Tomas Taylor takes strike one. Taylor's grounded into a double play. It was decided that the back end of that double play on appeal was let stand. Call was safe at first base, and that's what stood up. Call strike three. Boy, Ventura. And you can see that look on Tomas Taylor's face. Ooh, that's pretty good stuff right there.
He threw him an 87-mile-an-hour changeup. And that last one, I think, was 100 miles an hour right in the outside corner with movement on it. Stan Musial might not have been able to hit that pitch.
Yeah. That's pretty tough right there.
That's a strike.
Yeah. No, two away. That's three straight now sent down by Ventura. Rougned Odor drew a walk his first time. Takes that breaking ball, and it's about 3 feet short of home plate. Ventura's 1-0 pitch. And that's just a bit outside. Odor, a .249 average. Up over 300 at bats now in his first foray at the big league level. He has gotten again ahead of the count. 3 balls, no strikes. So Rougned trying to get aboard for the second time tonight. He'll be followed by Michael Choice. A lot of bugs in the area. Had heavy rains last night. Apparently they brought them out tonight. And there's a 4-pitch walk to Odor.
Odor's walked twice tonight. In each inning where Ventura has walked someone, they've turned a double play. Don't have to worry about that with 2 outs in this inning, but the walks have not come into play for him yet.
The 1 on, 2 out. Michael Choice grounded into a double play his first time up there. Michael batting at 174 as he faces Ventura. Rangers trailing 4-0 here in the 5th inning. 0-1. Choice just 3 out of 20 on this road trip. Joined the ball club in Seattle. Called back up from AAA Round Rock. He had hit .267 at AAA. Snap throw to first, and that was about a 85-mile-an-hour sinker over there at first.
If you're Hosmer, you have to tell Ventura, look, I don't want your best stuff coming over here, okay? Take a little off for me, big guy.
Quick is fine, but not hard.
Well, and big guy, actually, he's listed in the press guide at 6 feet, 180 pounds. Might be a little more than 180 pounds, but he's not 6'4", 220, that's for sure.
But he's
he
got
looks
an
like
arm.
6'9", 300 the way he's throwing the ball, though.
It's an awful lot, and I think I mentioned this to you before. To me, it reminds me an awful lot of Pedro Martinez.
Yeah.
Same kind of body and same kind of lanky arm, lanky loose arm. Shot foul by Michael Choice. The count remains 0-2. Ventura from the Dominican Republic signed with the Royals back in 2008, the winter of 2008, as a 17-year-old and non-drafted free agent. Another 0-2 coming to Choice. Big breaking ball, and Michael frozen at home plate. Tied him up like a hostage, and that'll do it. No runs. The Walker left stranded halfway through the ball game. Royals 4, Rangers 0. long road trip, and they open up a series against the Seattle Mariners. 7:05 game on Thursday. The first 15,000 fans receive a Shin-Soo Choo bobblehead. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com for this first September giveaway. Now Colby Lewis back to the hill. Colby facing Omar Infante to start off the 5th inning, and the first one up under his chin for ball 1. Infante has flied out and struck out tonight. Colby down and away with that strike. It is 1-1. That for Colby, his 60th pitch of the night. Back to Infante. And a little roller out toward short. Elvis off balance throw, not in time. You know, Elvis did everything he could. That ball just hit too slowly, and Infante gets down the line well. That is an infield single.
And just a little tapper right over the mound. You're right, Buzz. Elvis did everything he could. He made it as quickly as he could. Got something on the throw. Didn't matter. Infante beat it out.
And that is the 7th hit of the night for the Royals. Infante with his first one. And now the guys that have really been poison to the Rangers here tonight. Alex Gordon and Salvador Perez. Gordon is 1 for 1, a single and a walk, and he has scored 2 runs. And he pops up the first pitch. Adrian Beltre with room in front of the photographer's bay over there by the Ranger dugout. And that is a very important out number 1 for Colby Lewis. Now let's take time right here for a Mazda game break. Here's Dana Larson. All right, Dana, thank you very much. Our AL Central scoreboard will, or I should say the standings, show that Kansas City and Detroit in a virtual tie, maybe a percentage point here or there. Again, Kansas City had their game suspended last night against Cleveland, and it's, that half game is going to be the difference now until that game is made up. 1 on, 1 out here. Salvador Perez, a double and a 2-run home run. He takes a knee-high strike, 0-1. Perez having a big night offensively. Now 62 RBI. That's one behind Alex Gordon for the team leadership. And he has 16 home runs. Got in on him just enough, and he popped it up to shallow left. Michael Choice coming on. He calls off Elvis Andrus, and Michael makes the catch. Out number 2. And Colby able to get it down toward the hands just enough to keep that pitch from being problems.
Yeah, the first couple of times up, Perez got pitches that Colby didn't intend to throw him. They just came back over the plate. That time he got it in and tied him up, got the pop up.
So after the leadoff infield single, 2 quick outs. Now Eric Hosmer with his 3rd at bat of the night. Hosmer at 265 as he faces Colby. And lines one to left center field. Leonis Martin trying to cut it off. He does. But around to third goes Infante. On with the single is Eric Hosmer. And the Royals now with 2 outs have runners at first and third for Raul Ibanez.
It's tailing away. Right on the outside corner. Thought it might be a little bit outside. Hosmer hit it right off the end of the bat. Kind of looped it into left center field. Leonis was playing around the other way on him. The ball fell in front of him.
So first and third, Raul Ibanez, who has grounded out and flied to center field, is at the plate. Hosmer on his way to second, and there will be no throw. Adam Rosales was playing behind Hosmer, and Hosmer took advantage. He got a walking lead and a jump. No chance for Tomas Teles to throw him out.
Yeah, Hosmer's stolen 11 bases this year, 11 out of 17. He just got a big jump off Kobe, and off he went.
I take it back. Rosales was at the bag. I thought he had been behind him. 0-1 the count to Ibanez. Second and third now. Colby will still go from the stretch. And has the advantage at no balls and 2 strikes. Ibanez signed with the Royals back on June 30th. That was after the Los Angeles Angels had released him after 2.5 months in Anaheim. 0-2. Got him swinging. Good breaking ball down and in, and Colby avoids damage. He gives up a couple of hits, but strands 2. We have finished 5 in Kansas City. It's the Royals 4 and the Rangers nothing. It's time for the Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $500 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight, the Rangers are hitting for Jerry Johnson from Arlington. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Jerry Johnson from Arlington will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, it will be the top of the Ranger order here in the 6th inning. Leonis Martin, Elvis Andrus, and Alex Rios to face Yordano Ventura. 1 ball, no strikes. Leonis tonight has grounded out and struck out. Rangers have just 1 hit. That was an opposite field long single off the bat of Adrian Beltre. Missed by less than 2 feet of going out of the ballpark to right. That has been it. Ventura has walked free. There's a line drive into the glove of Omar Infante. 1 gone.
Now, Ventura has a pretty decent pitch count. 69 pitches here in the 6th inning.
Next will be Elvis, and Elvis has had no fun at all tonight. He has struck out both times that he has faced Ventura, and it seems like whatever Ventura has wanted to do to Elvis, he has made it good. Throwing the breaking ball over. He's thrown that sinking fastball at 100 miles an hour. There's one that missed. That breaking ball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Elvis at 265. On the outside corner. 1-2. Ventura working quickly, comes back to the plate and misses low and in. 2-2 to Elvis. Elvis 6 for 30 now on this road trip. Look at our Chevy pitch tracker showing you the variation. 73 pitches total for Ventura, and he almost nailed the outside corner with that, but the count has gone full. And Elvis trying to get aboard.
Still throwing 100 miles an hour.
Payoff pitch. Shot down the first baseline. It's a fair ball. Over to cut it off, Peguero. Cruising into second base. Elvis Andrus with the double.
He took a little off that. It was 98 miles an hour. Elvis was able to get the bat on it and keep it fair. A good pitch to hit, if you can call it 98 mile an hour fastball with movement, a good pitch to hit. But in a good location to hit it, Elvis did.
Just inside that line. Well, both hits tonight for the Rangers have gone that way, Elvis and Adrian Beltre. But Elvis now in scoring position with one out. Alex Rios 0 for 2 tonight. He is grounded out and flied to center field. Be a nice time for Alex Rios to unload his first home run in a while. Takes inside for ball one. It's been 40 games since Alex Rios had a home run. That pitch way inside. 2-0. I'm sure that Sherry Johnson, watching down in Arlington, would love for him to unload one here. Alex not particularly thrilled, though, with the location of those first two pitches from Ventura. The 2-0 from the right-hander. Now 3-0. Ventura working himself into a little bit of a hole here. Yeah, he's leading 4-0, but you lose Rios and you have Adrian Beltre, the Ranger cleanup hitter, standing in that on-deck circle. Ball four. 4-pitch walk. Rios is aboard. 2 on with 1 out, and Beltre coming up.
I mentioned that he'd walked 13 guys in his last 18 2/3 innings, and that's his 4th walk tonight. None of them have come back to hurt him. Maybe this one will.
Dave Island, the pitching coach, out there to have a chat with him and Salvador Perez.
Beltre walked 17 times in the month of August. He'd been averaging about 5 walks a month in the first 4 months of the season. 5 or 6 walks a month. So definitely pitchers were pitching around him a little bit more in the month of August, which you would expect with a lot of guys out of the lineup.
I think people finally said, I'm not even going to bother.
Said, why would we take a chance?
Exactly.
I think a lot of times they are trying to pitch around him, and he still hits pitches that aren't really good pitches to hit. But for him, it doesn't matter. Tougher to pitch around him than some other hitters.
Well, here's Beltre with 2 on and 1 out. The first pitch is a strike. Beltre flied out to the middle of the warning track in right field in the 2nd inning, and laced a long single off the very top of the wall right down the right field line last time up. Kind of unlucky that it either didn't go for a home run or it wasn't extra bases. And he's got Elvis out at second, Alex Rios at first. That gets by Perez all the way to the backstop. So both runners move up 90 feet. Wild pitch. Charge to Giordano Ventura. Perez able to get the glove down and brought it up, and the ball didn't come up with it.
Yep, should have kept it down. He thought that ball was going to bounce.
1-1 to Beltre. Now 2-1. Adrian, the team leader, with the 68 RBI. A 308 average with runners in scoring position for Adrian. Chance to get the Rangers right back in the middle of this thing, and he fouls off the next pitch. 2-2. Beltre back in. Elvis the lead from third. Alex Rios away from second. One out here in the 6th inning. Chopper slowly hit to short. That's going to get a run home. Alcides Escobar fires to first. Beltre out, but he gets the RBI as Elvis Andrus scores, and that makes it a 4-1 Kansas City lead. Adrian Beltre with his 69th RBI of the year, and staying at second is Alex Rios. Tough pitch from that right-hander down there sinking. Now here's Ryan Rua. Takes outside, ball 1. Rua walked in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th. Ryan with 1 major league RBI to his credit. A ball and a strike. Rua, as we mentioned, has hit safely in all 3 of his starts at the big league level. Prior to tonight, all 3 starts come as the first baseman. He and Adam Rosales exchanging positions tonight. He's up there with Alex Rios at second and 2 out. Now 1-2.
Some good sinkers he's throwing. 97. He's just pretty much settled in at 98 miles an hour, 97 miles an hour.
It's a nice place to settle, and
settle
you want
in with that kind of movement too.
If you like unhittable stuff.
Yeah.
The 1-2 is on the way. He goes with a breaking ball. That is low and outside. Ventura not ready to throw his 89th pitch of the night. A check of second. Got him swinging. Moving gas down low. Rangers get a run on a hit and a walk. They strand 1 after 5.5. It's the Royals 4 and the Rangers 1. Is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event, now playing at a Ford dealer near you. Bottom of the 6th, Colby Lewis goes to work. Bottom third of the Kansas City order. Carlos Peguero, who doubled and scored in the fourth. 1 for 2 takes strike one. Colby back to him. And a chopper foul outside first. No balls, 2 strikes. Colby had a very quick 10-pitch inning in the fifth. 70 pitches now for Colby as he gets ready to deal the 0-2 pitch to Peguero. Peguero, a big guy at 6'5", about 230 pounds. He can crush it when he gets a hold of it.
I bet he can.
Not up there. Colby Lewis with the strikeout. That is 4. Well, the Ranger right-hander. 1 gone, and Mike Moustakas coming up.
Peguero definitely looks like he likes the ball down. He's going to have a hard time if he keeps swinging at that pitch. You know, and in his career, which has not been a long career, but the times he's gotten a chance, he has shown a little bit of a tendency to strike out. That last pitch was 89 miles an hour that Colby threw by him in the top of the strike zone, maybe a little out of the top of the strike zone.
Mike Moustakas took a changeup for strike one. Moustakas 2 for 2 tonight, a pair of singles and an RBI. And Colby jumping out in front once again. No balls, 2 strikes. Moustakas now has 50 RBI for the season. Colby's wind and 0-2. Couldn't get Moustakas to try to climb that ladder.
A little too high. Only Infante would have swung at that pitch. Kind of making fun of Infante. He's having a great year. I just kind of like that last swing he took.
That's out of play down the left side. We'll try it again. Hit a ball and 2 strikes. Colby with a new baseball. Rubbing that up a little bit and back up on top of the hill. Tomas Talis with the signs. And another 1-2 pitch. Moustakas, I don't know how in the world he got a piece of that, but he did. Looked like that cutter or slider is right in under his hands.
He just barely hit the top of the ball.
And Colby again back to the plate. Tried the big overhand hook and left it a little bit low. 2-2 now. Moustakas, after a 2 for 2 night, has raised the average to 207. Took a little bit off, got the ground ball slowly hit out to Rougned Odor. 2 gone. Good pitch by Colby.
Moustakas has had a couple of hits. One ball he hit good, one ball he hit right off the end of the bat. That time Colby pitched him tough. He gave him a lot of tough pitches. He wasn't going to do much with those pitches. Barely fouled off the breaking ball down and in. Then he took something off, threw him a changeup, and he hit it right off the end of the bat to second base.
Well, Colby has retired the first 2 in this inning and then trying to get a 1-2-3 inning for the first time tonight. He has retired the first 2 a couple of times, in the first and in the second, also in the third, but has not been able to complete the 1-2-3 frame yet. Alcides Escobar down on the count 0-1. Escobar has flied out to right and grounded to third tonight, 0 for 2. Colby's next pitch in the air to right field. Alex Rios there, and there is your 1-2-3 inning for Colby Lewis. 3 up, 3 down. We'll go to the 7th inning in Kansas City. Royals 4, Rangers 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. top at 4-1. They about hit the Rangers 8-2. Salvador Perez, the big blaster for the Royals, with an RBI double and a 2-run home run. Meanwhile, his battery mate, Yordano Ventura, 6 innings, 4 walks, but 7 strikeouts, and just the 1 run on 2 hits. 89 pitches as he gets ready to go back out for the 7th inning. And this is territory that Ventura has not seen since the end of July. In the 4 starts that he had in August, he worked an even 6 innings in 3 of them, 6 2/3 in 1 other one. And Lorenzo Cain has come on defensively for the Royals here to start the 7th inning. So Figueroa out of the lineup, and Cain with very good speed now playing right. Adam Rosales leading things off, and Ventura's first pitch is a fastball for strike 1. Rosales reached by an error in the 2nd inning. Last time up, tapped right back to the box. 313 the average. Ventura's 0-1. Last inning for Yordano Ventura, 23 pitches. That's by far the most he's thrown in any single inning tonight. Rangers made him work a walk and a double. And Rosales lines one deep to left field. That's going to be over the head of Alex Gordon up against the wall. And Adam Rosales blisters a double to open up the 7th.
Well, Adam continues to get an opportunity. He's now started 8 out of the last 11 ball games, and he's earning every start by the way he's swinging the bat. The ball had some movement, came to the inner part of the plate, inner middle of the plate, and he put a good swing on it, knocked it right over Gordon's head. Ventura's been helped by a couple of double plays early in the game after he'd walked a batter each inning, 2nd inning and the 3rd inning. But even with 4 walks, he's still right at 92 pitches.
And Taylor's a drive to left center. That's down for a base hit. Dyson has trouble coming up with it, so around third coming in to score is Adam Rosales into 2nd base with a slide, Tomas Taylor's, and it's now a 4-2 Kansas City lead as the Rangers mounting a comeback here in the 7th inning.
Well, Tomas Taylor's hasn't seen a pitch he doesn't want to swing at either. Boy, he goes up there trying to hit early in the count. And this time he got a decent pitch to hit, put a great swing on it too. Mid-90s fastball, outer half of the plate, lined a shot out there to left center field. Good job of hitting, and then he, with being heads up on the bases, took a nice turn, saw the error by Dyson in center field, and kept on going. So he's in scoring position now. Good job by the rookie.
Well, it goes to a single and an RBI for Tomas Taylor. It's his 5th RBI in his first 5 ball games at the major league level. Advancing on the air, the 2nd error of the night. And Kelvin Herrera is up and throwing pretty quickly in the Royals bullpen. The Rangers now back-to-back hits to open up the 7th inning. A run across. Rougned Odor, who has walked twice tonight, takes outside for ball 1.
Something about Rougned, he can't throw him a strike.
Yep.
Not that easy to walk him twice in one game.
1-0 pitch, and that is low. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Yeah, it's funny. There are hitters like that. You just something about them. Just in the harder you try to throw him a strike, the less chance you have of throwing him a strike.
That's why he says, "I've walked this guy twice. I have to throw him a strike."
He pulls one on the ground. Hosmer thought about throwing to third, but on to first for the out. On to third goes Taylor. He is there with 1 out, so Odor gets the job done by pulling the ball to advance the runner. And now it's up to Michael Choice to get him home.
Well, they'll have the infield back, so a ground ball at least up the middle, first base and probably third base. Ground ball will get that run home. Contact, name of the game right here.
Yep.
Outfield playing around toward right center field for Michael.
Michael, a ground ball double play and a strikeout tonight. Takes low and outside for ball 1. Rangers 2 runs on 4 hits. They are trailing the Royals, who have 4 runs on 8 hits. And the Royals have committed a couple of miscues defensively. Daly's the runner at third. The 1-0 pitch. A little bit low to Choice. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Ventura approaching the 100 pitch mark as he works here in the 7th inning with 1 out. Ground ball toward the hole, through for a base hit.
Attaboy, Michael.
And the score is Taylor's. And Michael Choice with the RBI, is 32nd of the year, and it's a 1-run game. The Royals now lead is down to 4-3.
Well, he made the contact you need to make with the infield back to get that run in, and then found a hole between short and third for the RBI single against a tough pitcher throwing 98 miles an hour. That one didn't sink as much, and Michael got himself an RBI hit. That'll probably be it for Ventura.
Ventura won't have a chance to throw pitch number 100 as Ned Yost takes the ball from him. And get a look at Michael Choice's RBI single. So Ventura leaves an isolation here in Kansas City. And Kelvin Herrera is coming in from the bullpen. We'll take a timeout. Tell you all about the right-hander when we come back right after this. Support for the family of sports writer, the late Richard Durrett. Join us at Billy Bob's, Texas on Monday, September the 8th for a special live concert and fundraising event. You can enjoy live music featuring Casey Donahue, Rhett Miller and Company, and bid on one-of-a-kind sports packages and memorabilia in a live and silent auction. Log on to BillyBobsTexas.com to get your tickets. And for more information on the packages and memorabilia, log on to DoItForDurrett.com. And all proceeds go to the Durrett Family Fund. The back of the bullpen, and those 3 have been pretty good. And Kelvin Herrera is the first of those 3 to come in here tonight.
You look at the numbers for Herrera. He's had 25 1/3 scoreless innings. That's only the second best streak. The best streak is Wade Davis. His has been 26 2/3. So between the two of them, they haven't given up a run in over 50 innings. Neither one of them has given up a home run this year. Davis in 60 innings and Herrera in 58 innings. Well, that's one of the reason they're where they are is the back end of their bullpen has been untouchable.
Pitch to Leonis Martin, low and outside. Martin 0 for 3 tonight. He has grounded out, lined out, and struck out.
Herrera's pitched the last couple of days. He pitched an inning and a third in last night's game against the Indians.
Now you would think this would be a situation where Ned Yost asked him to get 2 outs and get him through the 7th. And you've got Davis and Holland if need be. Up the middle, near the bag at second. Stepping on the bag, Alcides Escobar on to first for the double play. And that takes the wind out of the Rangers' sails here in the 7th inning. They do come back with 2 runs on 3 hits. Nobody left. The double play towards that. After 6 1/2, it's the Royals 4 and the Rangers 3. Show their appreciation for your support this season. So select tickets for the September 9th game against the Angels will be buy one, get one free. Go to TexasRangers.com and use the coupon code THANKSFANS. Colby Lewis going to work here in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's now a 1-run game, 4-3 in favor of the Royals. Colby working to Gerard Dyson, the number 1 man in the Kansas City order. That pitch fouled back. Dyson 0 for 3 tonight. Struck out his last time after flying out to left field twice. Colby's 1-1. Now 2-1. Colby Lewis just 23 pitches to dispose of the Royals in the last 2 innings total. And pitch count now in the mid-80s. And he misses low and inside. It's 3 balls and a strike. Colby in danger of walking just his 2nd man tonight. He walked Alex Gordon back in the 3rd inning. Three-one pitch. That is down the middle. 3-2. Dyson leading things off. Omar Infante, the second baseman, will be next. Royals 4 runs on 8 hits. The Rangers 3 runs on 5 hits tonight. Payoff pitch. Hit well to right field. Rios going back, still going back. And that ball is off the wall. Into second and stopping there is Dyson the throw. And they've got him at second. No, they don't. Trailing the play, Adam Rosales had the ball, and Dyson was caught off the bag, but did a jackknife to get her hand back in there, at least according to Alan Porter, the third base umpire who was over there to make the call. And Ron Washington out. Now remember, Ron Washington doesn't have a challenge left. All he can do is ask if the umpires will take a look at it.
Well, that's a tough call. Hands are flying. The ball's there in time. Did he tag him in time? He's out.
Looks like it from that angle, doesn't it?
He's out. His hand came down, but it's 3 inches in front of the base.
Now the umpires are going to take a look at it. Now Field and Culbreth, the crew chief, along with Alan Porter, who made the call, are going to get the headsets.
Watch where his hand comes down. His right hand comes down. You can see it between his legs right there. I don't think it got to the bag.
Well, Alan Porter pretty sure of that call, and here's the look that the fans are oohing and awing about here at Kauffman Stadium.
Glove comes up and touches him. The hand is not on the base. You can see it.
And
yes,
he is
sir.
out at second base.
He knew it too.
That ruling not taking very long, and the umpire review gets the call right at second base. Gerard Dyson is out.
Ball's there in plenty of time. Dyson tries to evade it, but see, when his hand comes down, it didn't get to the base. Great job by Adams sticking with it and trying to keep him from getting to the base.
No, potentially huge play. That took a grand total of 58 seconds for the folks back at the replay command center to take a look at that and rule the call overturned. No, 1 out, 0-1 the count to Infante. Now 0-2 very quickly. You happen to be keeping score at home. That's a 9-3 putout at second base. One of the more unusual 9-3s you will see. 0-2 pitch. It's not like the Billy Butler 9-3 at first base against Toronto a couple weeks ago. Alex Rios getting the ball back in quickly to Adam Rosales, and Rosales staying with that tag on Gerard Dyson. Infante is 1 for 3 tonight. The count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Well, Colby Lewis bending but not breaking in the last 3 innings. Alex Claudio loosening in the Ranger bullpen. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Infante's base hit came in the 5th inning. It was a slow roller by the mound that Elvis couldn't get enough on the throw to get him. Here's a little cue shot, and this is going to be a tough play for Odor. Bare hand throws, got it.
What a nice play.
Well, that went a little bit easier than the bouncing ball that Elvis had to deal with, and Rougned able to barehand that cleanly, and boy, he got off a strong throw. Nice done.
Yeah, the ball was still rolling pretty well, but it hugged the ground and made it a little bit easier for Rougned to pick it up, but still a very athletic play on the dead run, barehand, and throws a strike to first base. Boy, he just gets better and better defensively at second base. He's making all the plays.
Well, some pretty outstanding defense here in the 7th inning. 2 up, 2 down, despite having a double thrown in there. And the pitch to Alex Gordon stays high for ball 1. Gordon 1 for 2 officially tonight. Singled and scored in the 1st, walked and scored in the 3rd, and fouled out his last time up. Takes a high strike there, and that evens things at 1-1. Colby's next pitch. Pulled foul outside first. You know, Colby Lewis in the last several innings has really gotten back together. He is getting ahead of the hitters and throwing all of his pitches for strikes. Giving the Rangers an opportunity to get back in this ball game. The 1-2. Colby back to the wind and calls strike 3. Gordon knew it. Just tossed the bat away, and Colby Lewis with 5 strikeouts now, and he's through 7 innings. We'll go to the 8th with the Royals leading 4-3 on Fox Sports Southwest. Go to the top of the 8th inning. Rangers trail by a run here at Kauffman Stadium, and a new pitcher now on the hill for the Royals. It'll be the right-hander Wade Davis.
Well, Wade Davis might be the toughest relief pitcher in baseball to score a run off right about now. Hasn't given up a run in 26 2/3. He also had a streak earlier in the year of 22 1/3. Between those two streaks, he gave up a run. So he's given up 1 run in 49 innings. That's an 0.18 ERA. Since April 26, his ERA is 0.18. Wow.
That's not very much.
He had given up a home run all season long.
Striking out people at a ridiculous rate, 90 and 60 innings. No, he will deal with Elvis Andrus to start things off. The first pitch is a strike at the knees.
Well, Davis was talking about this the other day. He's been a starting pitcher, but he talks about as a reliever how he can just come in for 1 inning and air it out, and his fastball reaches the upper 90s. Not able to do that as a starting pitcher.
And a drive hit deep to left field. Gordon is back at the track at the wall and makes the catch.
Wow. Well,
Elvis gave it a ride, and
technically he gave up a home run, because that's as far as Elvis can hit it. He hit that ball pretty good. Hadn't given up a home run all year, but Elvis hit that ball to left field. If that's Beltre hitting that ball, or maybe one of the other right-hand hitters, it's a home run. Elvis just wasn't quite strong enough to get it out of here, but he put a good swing on it.
Oh, he did.
Just the ballpark's a little bit too big for him. Well, that's a 1-run game late in the ball game. He hasn't had a ball hit like that off him in a long time.
No, 1 long out, and here's Alex Rios. Rios 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. He has grounded out, fly to center. 2 for 22 in his career against Wade Davis. He's fouled back. 1-1.
Jeff and Katie Ferrand are here from Dallas. They want to say hi to their friends and family back home. They usually get to 1 road game every year. We saw them in Seattle last year. Oh, Jeff and Katie, glad you're here tonight. Hi to all your friends back home.
Davis, a high set. 1-2. Alex, a .279 average as he waits. Davis back to him. In the air to right field. Lorenzo Cain meandering over to his left. 2 gone. And let's take a look at our Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the game. And this game back, the Rangers still looking for their first base hit. And Adrian Beltre came up and shot one right off the top of the railing down there in right field. And when you talk about a freaky fast single that should have been a double, Adrian just barely back in front of that throw. Adrian was thinking double out of the box and had to adjust his thinking, and he got the first base. The strike from Davis, 0-1. Beltre 1 for 3 tonight with that single. Had an RBI last time up on a ground out. 7 for 11, Adrian Beltre against Wade Davis. Nothing in 2 now. Yeah, and I think we talked about that, Tom, about what Davis was referring to about throwing for an inning. Last time when we saw Kansas City down in Arlington, that find a lot of starters that feel the same way. The guys that go to the bullpen and they can air it out for an inning, and you find guys that can throw 5, 6, 7 miles an hour harder for 1 inning than they ever could as a starter.
Yeah, he definitely was. That last pitch was 98 miles an hour. So he's bringing up the same kind of heat Ventura was, really.
The 0-2 pitch. Ground ball wide to third. Diving stop by Moustakas, and he throws him out. Beltre robbed by his counterpart. A great play by Moustakas, and the Rangers Boy, some highlights in the making in that inning. The go for not. 3 up, 3 down after 7.5. 4-3 Royals. All right, Dana, thank you. Well, we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and well, if you can ever say we was robbed, Rangers were robbed in that top of the 8th inning. But now Sean Thomason on to pitch the bottom of the 8th for the Rangers.
Yeah, good numbers for Sean. Excellent season for him, and a good start for Kobe Lewis. Just seemed like Kobe threw more and more strikes as the game went on. He threw 98 pitches, 70 of them were strikes. And 8 out of the last 10 hitters saw strike 1 on the first pitch from Kobe. He had a tough time with Salvador Perez early in the game. RBI double in the first, a 2-run homer in the third. 2 pitches that Kobe left out over the plate. But other than that, another strong outing for Kobe. Had a complete game in Seattle on this trip and followed it up with a good solid outing today.
So Sean Thomason on to work to Salvador Perez. Perez 2 for 3 tonight. 3 of the 4 runs have been knocked in by the Royals catcher, and Thomason, this is just off the plate for ball 1. '26-year-old right-hander Sean Thomason from Allen, Texas. He has established himself, I think, as a key part of the Ranger bullpen going forward, looking to next year. Good breaking ball to the outside corner. It's 1-1. Sean's shown that he can come in and fill multiple roles, I would think, at the back end of that bullpen in the 7th, 8th, even the 9th inning at times. 1-1 pitch. Into center field, a base hit. And Perez with his 3rd safety of the night. He leads off the 8th inning with that base hit. Now let's take a look at tonight's selection for our AT&T fan photo. And we appreciate the folks at AT&T making this possible. And Amber, thank you very much for your photo. Happy to put it up there tonight. And if you'd like to tweet your photo, it's hashtag Southwest Fan Photo. And we'll make a selection each and every broadcast on Fox Sports Southwest for you. 1 on, nobody out. Eric Hosmer, who is 1 for 3 in his return to the big leagues, takes the changeup that floats in for strike 1.
Hosmer hasn't taken many pitches tonight. He hit the first pitch the first time up, the first pitch the third time up. Saw a few pitches his second time up, so we've seen 6 pitches now in the game.
Got Salvador Perez down at first. Bottom of the 8th inning. And Sean Tollison taking a little too long, and time was requested. Pitch to Hosmer is a bit low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hosmer had 3 rehab stints, or starts I should say, down at Omaha, the AAA affiliate of the Royals. He went 3 for 10 with 3 RBI. He'd been out since August the 2nd, had a fractured right hand. 1-1 pitch is coming to him. Now 2-1. John Tollison, the ex-Baylor Bear, on here in the 8th inning, trying to give the Rangers one more chance at a 1-run game. Low and inside now, 3 balls and a strike. A leadoff single by Perez, and now Tollison falling behind Eric Hosmer at 3-1. Hosmer to be followed by the designated hitter. That's the veteran Raul Ibanez. John back up on top. He'll read the signs from Tomas Telis. A high set and the pitch. Well hit to dead center field. Going back, Leonis Martin at the wall, makes the catch. Right up against the padding. Back to first goes Perez. That's as far as you can hit a ball in this ballpark and have it stay in.
Yeah, that's out of most ballparks. It's not out of Houston, but it might have made Leonis run up the hill anyway in Houston. Basically a 410-foot fly ball out. It goes out of most parks. Pitch right down and out over the plate. Got underneath it a little bit, still gave it a ride. Leonis getting back and waiting for it.
No, one fairly long out. Now Raul Ibanez asked for time after he was all set. Ibanez has struck out, flied out, and grounded out. Rougned Odor shifted around to about halfway between first and second, but he's up at double play depth. As Ibanez takes the pitch low. There's Rougned. He plays a very shallow second base for double play depth. He really comes in about 4 or 5 steps from his normal depth. The 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Ibanez a 169 average for the year. Two and one now. And a couple of raindrops starting to fall here at Kauffman Stadium. There's a fairly big storm just west of downtown Kansas City, or just to our west by about 20 miles. That pitch is low. It's 3 balls and a strike, and some of the folks down below in the uncovered seats headed for upstairs. They may have looked at the radar, seen that big colorful blob out there. Or if you happen to have rain gear with you, put that on.
Come prepared.
And Tollison falling behind, 3 balls and a strike to Raul Ibanez. And he misses ball 4. That's 2 on with 1 out. And Lorenzo Cain will come to the plate. Mike Maddox, Ron Washington. And while we have a second here, Chevron would like to remind you about tomorrow's starters. 7 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Southwest. Derek Holland, his first outing of 2014 at the big league level. He'll be opposed by Jeremy Guthrie. And Derek Holland tomorrow night, when he takes the mound, will become the 60th player used by the Rangers this year, which is an all-time major league record, and the 37th pitcher used by the Rangers this year, which will tie the major league record. And I would have a sneaking suspicion that Mike Maddox will probably have a couple more that we haven't seen at the big league level this year appear for him in September. Out there now to talk with Sean Tollison and Tomas Taylor. Got action going in the Ranger bullpen. They're giving Alex Claudio some time to get loose down there. But as Mike Maddox always does, he's gesturing out toward second base, making sure that Tollison knows who's going to cover in case the ball hit back to the mound. And now the rain starting to pick up in intensity a bit. And we're going to have a pinch runner down at first. That's going to be Lane Adams, one of the minor leaguers called up as rosters expanded today for Kansas City's an outfielder that played at Double-A this year. First pitch to Lorenzo Cain is in for strike one. Cain entered the game defensively last half inning. .298 average, 3 home runs, 42 RBI. Tollison a check of second. That pitch is in the dirt, gets away from Taylor, so the runners advance. Salvador Perez down to third, and Lane Adams to second. Now the Rangers will have to pull their infield all the way in with 1 out. Not much the Taylors could do with that one.
Not much he could do, and not much Wash could do right here. You have to play the infield in with one of the best closers in baseball waiting to come into the game. You just have to do your best right here to keep it a 1-run ball game.
1-1 pitch. That's going to be tough to hit.
If you can swing at that one again, it would be in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Well, they've swung a couple pitches out of the strike zone tonight. That's not quite up there with Infante's, but it's pretty close. That ball he swung at that, almost hit him in the head.
Yeah.
That ball missed his helmet by about an inch. He missed the ball by about a foot. Man, seen some weird swings tonight.
Well, Lorenzo Cain's defense, it had been about 3 hours since he took batting practice. And
almost
tried to go up there again. He got the foul tip and the strikeout. How about that? Tried to check his swing, and he did, but the ball ticking off his bat into the glove of Tomas Taylor for the strikeout.
That's what you would call a forgettable at bat right there.
Yeah.
Memorable for Sean Tollison, though.
Now with 2 outs and Mike Moustakas, a left-handed hitter coming up. Ron Washington out to the mound, and they're going to want Alex Claudio to come on. They want to have left-hander against left-hander. So the important one, as far as Sean Tollison was concerned, after the single walk and then wild pitch, got the strikeout for the second out of the inning. And he will depart now with runners at second and third. Mike Moustakas will be the hitter, and Alex Claudio is coming in from the bullpen. We'll take a timeout. We're back after this on Fox Sports Southwest. tomorrow night. Derek Holland, his first outing of the year, will be opposed by Jeremy Guthrie, who's 5-1 in his last 7 starts. Fox Sports Southwest, the place to be tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. There's Derek Holland on the bench tonight. He is charting tonight's game as the starter for the next night. Will do under protest sometime, but they get the job done. Here's Alex Claudio facing Mike Moustakas, and the first pitch to him is low for ball 1. And the numbers for Alex Claudio,
pretty good numbers. Finally gave up a run. 7 games, 6 2/3. One thing about the young players, they're not only getting a chance to play and hit and pitch, they're doing it in pressure-packed situations. Usually when you get called up, September, manager tries to find some comfortable situations for you just to get your feet wet, but now these comfortable situations aren't there anymore. And when it's time to get someone out, young guys are getting the call and seeing what they can do when the chips are down.
1-1 pitch from Claudio. Ground ball to the right side. Rosales will underhand to the pitcher covering. Claudio there in time, and that'll do it. So nice job by the left-hander. No runs a hit, 2 men are left. We're going to the 9th inning in Kansas City. Greg Holland coming in a 4-3 Royals lead. The Uverse Rewind, and this occurred a couple of innings ago. Gerard Dyson leading off, lines one to right field. Nice play by Alex Rios, and even better play by Adam Rosales to stay with the tag. And they get Dyson, who had wandered a little too far beyond the bag at second, and that's why after the umpire review he was called out.
Dyson was dying to go for 3, and that's what Alex was doing. He knew who was running. He was getting it in quickly to keep him from getting a triple, and ended up throwing him out at second.
Well, here's Greg Holland, the closer on for Kansas City, facing Ryan Rua. And the first pitch thrown right on by the Ranger DH.
Holland came into last night's ball game and gave up a 2-run, 2-out double. Lonnie Chisenhall to give Cleveland a 2-run lead. That's a 2-run lead they'll take in the suspended game back to Cleveland when the two teams meet in Cleveland. Holland 40 out of 42 in save opportunities this year. Last night he came into a tie ball game.
He has not had a save since when he picked up on August 22nd down at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Got him swinging. Boy, nasty split-fingered pitch. And Holland gets strikeout number 1.
It's a tough game for Ryan Rua tonight in that he's played 3 games coming into this game, but tonight he faced some really tough pitching. Saw Yordano Ventura at his best, and now one of the best closers in baseball in Greg Holland. That's a really tough assignment for a young player getting his first taste of the big leagues, his first 10 or 15 at bats. So don't be disappointed about that. Those pitchers can make anybody have a bad night.
Here's Adam Rosales, who has doubled in 3 trips to the plate. 0-1. Rosales double was in the 7th inning. That led off the inning. He came around to score on Tomas Taylor's RBI base hit. Holland with the 0-1 pitch. That will even the count. The high set by the right-hander. Well, Rosales right on that, but only foul it straight back. It's 1-2. Royals fans enjoying the run because it has been 29 years since they've been to the postseason. Got him swinging. Boy, that bottom just falling out of that. The play will be completed at first. Back-to-back strikeouts, 2 away, and Taylor will come up.
Holland has a mid-90s fastball. His other pitches are a slider or a splitter, and sometimes you can't tell the difference between them. Whatever that was, it looked like a slider. Your best chance is hope you get a fastball to hit it, so you don't have to worry about those other 2 pitches.
Tomas Taylor's up there, 1 for 3 tonight. He had an RBI single and scored a run himself in the 7th inning. Holland's first pitch. 1 ball, no strikes. Crowd of 21,536, and they are on their feet at Kauffman Stadium. 2-0 now to Taylor. On Washington, Tim Bogart. Become spectators here with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Rangers down by a run. They need a base runner. Tomas Taylor was going to tie the game up with 1 swing of the bat.
That's not a rookie swing right there. Good swing. That's what you should be doing right there. Go for it. You got a 1-run game. Pretty tough to put a 3-hit rally together against Holland, so might as well take a swing like that and go for it. Got a good pitch to do it with, too.
And home plate umpire Marty Foster giving Salvador Perez a little time to regroup after that foul tip caught him in the mask. 2 balls, 1 strike. Holland's next pitch. Chopped out towards short. Escobar across the diamond, and the Royals have won the ball game here tonight. Greg Holland with his 41st save of the year, and the Rangers have a 6th and 7th inning comeback, but it falls a run short. The Royals win the first game of this 3-game series 4-3, the final here at Kauffman Stadium tonight. We'll come back to Kansas City to wrap things up right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.